TwT fans? It is January 29th, 2025, and as always, I am so thankful to still be alive. Before I get into anything today, let me start off the way I always do, by saying thank you to all of you for subscribing, supporting, and doing everything you do for the channel. I greatly appreciate it. If you're new to the podcast, remember to subscribe. If you want your opportunity to tell your story or be a guest on the podcast, talkinwithtopher@gmail.com. Send an audio, video, or type it out. And then you'll find the Linktree link in the description below the video, along with all links discussed on this podcast today. And now, with all the housekeeping out of the way, let's get into episode 252. I don't know why I just got so excited about that. It is crazy. It is crazy, though. 252 episodes is nuts. I never reflected on 250, and I have a bunch of these pre-recorded. That's how I'm doing this right now. I have to say that the job has been fun, but the job is a lot. I have barely any time, and I thought I was actually going to change when the release of this podcast was going to come out, but it looks like the way I figured it all into everything, it's going to come out the same time every week still. So it's just been a lot of juggling right now and trying to figure out how to get this all done in an efficient way. And then the only thing that's really been lost, and I'm super thankful for my professor and all my classmates and everything, so much support, and this job is really eating into all of my jiu-jitsu right now. And I talk about it because a lot of these things have to do with my sobriety. And now that I'm where I am today and I'm feeling confident in myself, it's not as big of a deal. Jiu-jitsu is very important to me. Do not take me wrong, but it's just at the end of the day, like, I know what I'm doing is gonna be what my family needs in order for us to, keep everything we have, right? And that's the most important thing to me right now. But jiu-jitsu was a giant staple in my life, something that I thought that if it was taken away, I would slip. And I have found out in the the 23rd was 2 months. So it's just like one of those things where I was like, oh, wow, look at this. I've been doing this for 2 months. I can only go to jiu-jitsu once a week, and you're okay. You're okay. You didn't fall apart. You held it together. And I love it. I love my school. I love my professors. I am so thankful that we work something out, because I know that the minimum at school is 2 days a week, and I can't do it with this schedule. And they've been more than accommodating for me, and I am just so grateful for that. But at the end of the day, it's like I didn't fall apart, everybody. So all these things that I was going through in my head about, the past job when they were going to have me travel out of state and stuff, and I was so panicky and so worried about not having certain things around me that keep my sobriety. And if you're not watching, that was put in quotations, because I think that was all in my mind. I didn't need to have these things. I have these things. I utilize these things, but because I utilize them on a daily basis means that I have enough discipline to keep utilizing them, even though I'm not using them as often. Does that make sense? But I feel like the practice, the day in, day out, over and over and over again, and the discipline of just going to class and doing the thing, and all the 5-day water fasts, and the change of the diet, and the discipline behind all of it, and everything that I've done. I just wish I had discipline in actually working out. That would be nice. I have discipline in so many places. I can go without food for 5 days. I can't do a 20-minute workout. It's crazy. I can't find the time for it. I literally push it out. I push it off. But I'll go without eating for 5 days. I think that is somewhat it shows you, like, you know, you can do what you want to do. You know what I mean? And I know I'm one of those odd people that just doesn't care if he eats or not. But at the end of the day, all of that is still there even when it's not available. And that's what this has showed me the most, is that it all everything I've exercised and everything that I've worked on is right there. It's right there for me all the time. And I don't have to be worried about falling off the wagon if something else is not quite what it used to be. And I don't know if that also is just getting used to change, but we're going to do Topher's topics, and it's 2025. January 21st is behind us, and let's go crypto. Let's go. So say goodbye to solar panels. The first AI-powered wind turbine to produce free energy. You see it? Look at this thing. I don't know. I'm hoping they're going to show me a couple more pictures. I'm wondering if that spins around in a circle, if these are individual free spinning things. AI-driven, city-oriented wind turbines for groundbreaking urban energy. For decades, the design of wind turbines has been optimized mostly for high-speed winds, typical in a rural open area. Conventional wind turbine blades were designed with an operational speed of 33 feet per second. However, not so in cities like Birmingham. The average wind speed is much lower, usually around 12 feet per second, and the turbulence from the tall buildings has really offset the efficiency of traditional designs. Evo Phase's innovation is bringing AI and evolutionary design techniques together to create turbines specifically optimized for those very difficult conditions. The Birmingham blade, compact, agile, and designed to suit the urban breeze. AI-powered innovation going to the field with the Birmingham blade prototype after successful testing of AI-generated design. Okay, so they're doing the same thing that people are doing with tires. So the AI took all of the complications with getting a wind turbine into a city setting and designed a wind turbine for the wind that only gets up to 12 miles an hour and the wind that gets passed through building the building, and it located where all the wind probably gathers, right? Because I'm sure there's a way to map the wind. We do it all the time with the storms. So I'm sure there's somebody who's mapping the wind that blows through, each building, and then you just position these things in the right spot. They spin and they give free energy. Interesting. I don't know. These things are, again, a wind turbine, yes, is moved by wind, but I'm pretty sure that those wind turbines in the ocean, the motors on those, right? They said that they have to start them up. So doesn't that indicate some type of an engine and not just wind coming off the ocean and moving them? Or am I crazy? Because the way everybody talked about them, I mean, I don't know anything about a wind turbine personally. I don't even really care. But I know that they're, ugly, and they are not doing everything that they are telling us that they're doing. So I don't really have a problem with them until I found out all the damage that they're doing to ecosystems in our environment. And I was like, well, wait a minute. How can you tell me that something that's green is doing the opposite? Oh, wait, it happens every time you tell me something's green. It's actually the opposite. So when this is just a repeating story of the same thing over and over and over again, like everything else that they've ever told us, They just feed you the same story with a different scenario, and you're supposed to go, yeah, yeah, good. It is good. You're right. You're right. No, it's always the opposite. And I think that these will be fine because they're in a city urban environment. So, I'm sure it's not going to be like vibrating the ground or making loud noises because, well, people are nearby, right? So we don't care about any of that in our design when we're bothering the fish or the birds or everything else. But when we're putting them around people because, we understand and we can say something about what we hear, we're like, oh, well, it has to be designed and it has to be quiet and it has to be. I mean, we probably should do that no matter where we're putting them. You know what I mean? So I just like to look into these. I find them to be fascinating. I don't know why I thought it was actual AI. But AI designed like the tires, some of the tires that I have now, and some of the tires that are made are in a fully, is it autonomous building where there's no people in the building. It is just a robot facility. It's absolutely wild. I believe now. I don't want to say because that just proves I still don't know my stories. But yeah, so we'll move on to this one. Medical debt soon to be banned on credit reports. So this could be good. I mean, I don't think your medical debt, your cell phone, and what else do we pay for? Like insurance. Does insurance go on your credit report? I don't think so, right? There's certain things that we pay for on a regular basis that we may fall behind on that should never go against your credit report, or it should never weigh in on whether or not you can get a loan. And medical debt should definitely be one of those because nobody chooses to get deathly ill. Nobody chooses. Well, all right. Let me back that up a moment. Let me back that up before I even get started. Not everybody is putting themselves in the hospital knowingly. Okay, not everybody. And for you, like myself, who are conscious about things and whether or not we should go more often than we do, you know, if something was to terribly happen to me, bad car accident, whatever happened, I don't want that bill to then determine whether or not I can get a loan or anything else. It should definitely, something like that should never get put on my credit report. It's not money I wanted to borrow. You know what I mean? That's money I'm going to pay back because you hopefully saved my life. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to play this video because I can't stand Kamala. I don't want to hear her talk. I know this is the Biden administration doing this. I'm not saying that I'm happy for that. I just think it's a good idea to put this in place because of the simple fact that they shouldn't have been allowed to do this in the first place. These are things that we have to pay for because of a horrible circumstance that, I don't know, most of us are not expecting, right? So anything like that should never count against you. Now, there are going to be a few things I'm going to talk about in here after this. What about the cancellation on the insurances just before the fires, everybody? Just let that one sit for a minute. All right, U.S. risks electronic warfare with China after unveiling anti-satellite jammer network. The network of jammers that aim to disrupt. The network jammers that aim to disrupt communications could prompt an escalating game of cat and mouse, analysts warn. So this is, I'm assuming, a satellite jammer, which just looks like a satellite with more black wiring. So maybe the black wiring is the jamming wiring. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm really looking at, to be honest. The U.S. Space Force has revealed its plan to deploy jammers designed to disrupt satellite signals into the Indo-Pacific, prompting warnings that it could escalate into an electronic warfare battle with China when Donald Trump returns in office. It won't let me read anymore unless I subscribe. I mean, God forbid we can just read the news without having to pay you money. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Back in the day, if I wanted to read anything, I would have had to buy your magazine or buy your newspaper. But, I mean, come on. Come on. I am talking about it, you know? I'm talking about it, and other people are going to talk about it. So let us read about it. But anyways, so I don't know. Are we going to be jamming? So that's us saying that we have jammers, and if we jam a signal, it could cause a war, an electronic war with China. Okay. So again, got to be the first to do something, throw it out there, and then, of course, as soon as they find out we have it, they're like, if you use this, don't you use that. And you're like, oh, yeah. It's always this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So crazy. So, speaking of China's new humanoid robot.
Casbot just launched its first ever full-sized humanoid robot codenamed 01, but what can it actually do and how much will it cost? To start, Casbot's new 01 robot stands at 179 centimeters tall and weighs 60 kilograms. It features 52 degrees of freedom and 550 tera operations per second of computational power, with an endurance of over 4 hours of battery power. And it's designed for multiple real-world applications like organizing clothes, assembling lamps, and even screwing things around the house. And underneath the robot's exterior shell, it employs high-strength metal throughout its mechanical structure, providing it with more stability and impact resistance for real-world tasks. Plus, the robot utilizes advanced integrated joints with a peak torque density of 207 Newton meters per kilogram to maintain the highest precision control possible. But to power 01's intelligence, Casbot relies on a hierarchical end-to-end AI model, enabling sophisticated awareness and decision-making. Additionally, its use of RGBD cameras, LiDAR, and multiple sensors also allows the robot to engage in dual visual and auditory interactions when encountering humans. And for improved dexterity, its bionic hand weighs only 800 grams, putting the expected cost of this humanoid somewhere between $20,000 to $80,000 upon release. But that's only the beginning, as Tiangong's general-purpose humanoid robot...
Wow. Wow. What the hell, dude? That was wild. You see it playing the piano? If you didn't, it was playing the piano. It was organizing clothes. It was using a key guard to get in the door. It's walking. And its stability and movement is absolutely insane. Although it is very wide. So I don't know what that means for, like, I'm just throwing this out there. I mean, I don't know who has $20,000 to $80,000 to just throw around, but there's plenty of people out there, right? I know a guy that bought 4 tires, went to the casino while we were working on his car. I called him, told him it was done. He came back. He won $3,000. I was like, no shit, dude. That's awesome. So his tires cost him nothing. It's awesome. But, like, so, I mean, if you had an older house or something, like, I don't know, maybe it would turn sideways to walk through the doorway. But, man, that was insane. I mean, these things are getting wild. They're getting crazy, crazy accurate. And the movement and just, I mean, I'm going to go back to playing the piano. Who was playing the piano? Cooking food. Organizing clothes. Wow. Oh, and then it was answering phone calls. There was a laptop, and it hit the answer button, and it's sitting there talking on the phone. Wow. It's crazy what these shits is doing. This is insane to me. They got so many things going on, and these that I think between the jammers and the humanoids, it's gonna be U.S. Well, I mean, what about Elon? You know, I think I'm gonna talk about it in a minute, anyways. But there's something going on with the open AI. And I think the war between the the humanoids is not going to be human versus humanoid. It's going to be countries' humanoids against countries' humanoids to get to the most dominant humanoid. And then once we get there, and AI is fully developed and possibly autonomous, and it's made its own energy source and now can be fully sustainable without being on the grid, that will be the superior one. So whatever one that is after the robot wars, which will probably be worse, and we would just become casualties in the middle. Man, what if it has nothing to do with us at all? And it's just them fighting it out to figure out which one is the most superior. And we just made it all about ourselves, thinking that we were going to have to go to war with them and that they were going to eradicate us for being the weaker of the species, the food chain. Like, they would be at the top of it at that point, right? They don't have to eat. They don't have to do anything. They just need power to survive. So therefore, they are superior. I don't know if you can call it a species, but I mean, at that point, kind of, really, right? But what if it becomes a war amongst themselves? Huh. I don't know. I'm a little high right now. I'm having some fun, just doing an episode, and that's where my brain just went. I don't know. What do you think? What the hell do you think is going to happen to this friggin' world we're all just along for the ride on, This is wild, too. Man finds himself trapped in a circling, self-driving taxi. What? Yeah, I told you, this is how it is in the beginning. Everything's a crapshoot right now.
Okay, why is this happening to me on a Monday? I'm in a Waymo car.
Connected to rider support. This call may be recorded for quality assurance.
This car is just going in circles.
Hi there, Mike. This is Gab. I'm calling from Waymo support. I'm just calling because I received a notification that your car might be experiencing some routing issue. Please bear with me while I am.
Yeah, I got a flight to catch. Why is this thing going in a circle? I'm getting dizzy. Look at what it's doing.
I understand. I'm really, really sorry, Mike. We're currently working with the situation of the vehicle. Is it circling around a parking lot, right?
It's circling, seatbelt on. I can't get out the car. Has this been hacked? What's going on? I feel like I'm in the movies. Somebody playing a joke on me.
Holy shit.
And I got a flight to catch.
I understand, Mike. I'm really sorry for this. We're working with this, but by any chance, do you have an access to your Waymo app right now? Do you have an
yeah.
Okay, now I'm gonna be pulling the car over while we are trying to assist the car. Oh, hold on just a second.
Oh my goodness. I just better not be late for the flight. You guys are gonna take care of the flight. That part.
I'm really sorry.
Yeah, because this is crazy. This is crazier.
I apologize. If you have your app pulled up, I need you to tap my trip in the lower left corner of your app.
Can't you just do it? You should be able to handle it. Take over the car. You don't need my phone.
I don't have an option to control the car.
Oh
Mike,
my
I'm
gosh.
really so sorry about this.
Well, can you stop this car?
Over. I am trying to pull it over right now. Apologies.
Jesus Christ. This is where we are, everybody. This is where we are, everybody. Oh, my God. Oh, shit. Wow. I mean, how late are you really going to be for that? Or are you using it as an excuse to get a free flight? I don't know. Maybe. But at the end of the day, that thing was just going in circles in that parking lot. And you can see down at the bottom, there was a little screen, and it just couldn't figure out how to get out of the parking lot, which is so weird. I mean, it could have gone 2 different ways out of that area. And for some reason, it just kept going in a circle and in a circle. And it's like, okay, just stop the car. Just stop it. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day, like, if you can't access something, I understand what she's talking about. Like, you need to go into the app, and there's probably some options or something. You might have to change the directions, or you might have to force feed it, a little bit more information. And she just doesn't have the capability of doing that on her end, which makes no sense. If you have the capability of stopping the vehicle, then you have access to the vehicle and all the information that's going to that vehicle. Change the fucking address, lady. Just change the address and make the car go out of the parking lot. You know what I mean? Or, hey, we should probably still have somebody in the driver's seat in case this happens. Maybe it's too early for this, right? Like I've been saying, it's too early. And I also thought self-driving cars had to have lines. And it doesn't look like this parking lot had any lines. Like, not the lines for the parking spaces, but the lines that directs you where to go. So maybe there's no arrows pointed on the street itself, and therefore it can't find an exit because everything looks the same on the cameras. So it needs a line. It needs something to follow. It needs something to direct it. And if we haven't painted those lines, or we haven't spread that message enough, these self-driving vehicles don't know where to go unless they have lines to look at. So this parking lot may not have arrows on it, right? So it should have arrows going around that thing, and then a break-off arrow. And then the car would probably see that painted on the road, and it would go, oh yeah, I go out this way. You know what I mean? So that's one thing I've learned about all these vehicles that we drive with the cameras and everything. If there's no lines, that thing has no idea really where it's going. It just thinks it's on an open road. And so that's why I was a little worried about these autonomous self-driving vehicles anyways, because maybe they're not autonomous. They're just self-driving. But at the end of the day, that's why I was worried about them, because not all roads are equal. And I mean, there's plenty of roads just here in Manchester that, like, it's just road from sidewalk to sidewalk. There's no dividing line. There's no curb line. There's no nothing. There's nothing on those streets. And that's because they're side streets. No one really drives them, but a parking lot like this probably should have thought of that, because I mean, you're probably getting Ubers and all these other things coming to this parking lot. It looks like it's like a Marriott or something. I don't know. But, I mean, without lines, these things are pretty fucking stupid, All right, so Elon Musk, I was talking about it earlier. He's auctioning off OpenAI stake, which I found to be interesting. And I'm wondering if it's because he wants to get to that autonomous before anybody else. So if he opens up OpenAI's to auction, then that would allow bidders to come in and more money to be funded for these type of projects, is what I was thinking. I was confused. So he's asking somebody to do this. All right, so lawyer for billionaire Elon Musk has asked attorney generals into the states of California and Delaware to push OpenAI to auction a major stake in its business to decide fair value of its charitability assets during its corporate restructuring. Sources familiar with the matter told Reuters on Thursday. Musk's attorney Mark Toberoff sent a letter to the state's top lawyer office on Tuesday in which he argued that should provide a process for competitive bidding to determine fair market value of OpenAI's charitable assets to protect the public's beneficial interests as the startup is working to removing the control of its nonprofit, according to the sources. Elon is engaging in the lawfare. We remain focused on our mission and work, OpenAI spokesman said in a statement. The startup previously said that the valuation of its charitable assets will be determined by independent financial advisors. Financial Times reported the letter earlier in the day. Sam Altman, co-founder of OpenAI, alongside Musk and others, and become one of the technological world's biggest names after 2022 launch of the artificial intelligence tool called ChatGPT. Backed by Microsoft, OpenAI was valued at $157 billion in October, raising the $6.6 billion from investors. Jesus Christ. So what are we investigating here? Delaware Attorney General Kathy Jennings weighed in on the case by sending the court an amicus brief on December 29th, stating she is currently reviewing OpenAI proposed changes. Musk, who owns AI startup xAI, is suing OpenAI in courts in an effort to block OpenAI's conversation, which it had argued as departure of the mission he funded the company on. The court is likely to rule on the preliminary injunction. Musk's lawyers have applied for later this month. So it wants to restructure its profit business to a non-profit. Oh, shit. What? Okay, I see why they want to stop this. You can't do that. You can't do that. No way. Non-profit. Get the fuck out of here, dude. That's crazy. It's worth $6.6 billion. No wonder they want it to be a non-profit. Look at all that money you won't have to pay the taxes on. These fucking people, man. Like you need to cut taxes, you bitches. Jesus Christ. You could pay all of our taxes with that and keep millions, billions. Like what? Unfucking real, dude. Unreal. That's what I'm getting from this right now. I'm getting that they don't want to pay taxes on their money. And if they go nonprofit, they won't have to. That's it. That's all it is. And Musk is like, no, if I have to pay my taxes, you have to pay your taxes. Man, oh man, this place is crazy. So I'm going to play this one first. And I looked into this, and I do have some information on it. So this is Carlton dancing in the middle of the street with the fires. When your LA mansion burns down, but so does the Diddy evidence against you. Now, this is not humorous, nor is it factual, because I actually did do some research. And these fires were terrible, first of all. So I'm not bringing, like, I'm not like lessening the damage, the life loss, but there are some things going on here that I want to get into. And so the first one was the Diddy home. And I did look it up, and according to this map here, and that's all I'm going to show. I'm not going to play anything else, but according to this map here, here's Beverly Hills. Here's Diddy's house. This is the Hearst fire. This is the Kenneth fire. This is the Palestine's fire. I mean, look at the size of that fucking thing. What, 19, and this was 1 day ago, right? This was updated on January 10th, so that was 2 days ago. So, right in the middle of Beverly Hills, the Palisades fire was climbing up the hill, 19,978 acres. Oh my God, that is so insane. And then over here you have the Eaton fire, which is 13,690 acres, 394 for Lindia. Hearst was 771. Kenneth was 959. Just crazy. Oh, look at that. Fire. fire, 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 fire. Wow. Wow. I guess there's just always fires in California, huh? It's just when they get like this, it's crazy. Like, look at how far into Malibu that went. Absolutely horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. But as you can see, if we're talking about the evidence against Diddy being in his house, unless we're talking about somebody else's house, maybe but at the end of the day, you can see plain and simple by Google Maps, his house did not burn down. So neither did the evidence against him. Unless the evidence was taken out of his house and the location that was holding it is burned to the ground, I was just curious, you know what I mean? I see stuff and I'm like, wait a minute. Did his house really burn down, or are we just pretending right now? So this is one of those things where I'm like, I'm calling bullshit on it. I'm calling bullshit on this. But I did, find a little humor in it because I was like, oh, it made me think for a second. I was like, oh my God, what if, right? What if these fires were started to get rid of the evidence against Diddy? Like, he's going to jail forever, and if anything, maybe he'll actually kill himself in there. You know what I mean? But his house definitely did not burn down in these fires.
As these fires are going on in Southern California, they are laying something over Area 51. It's then being shot by the NexRad radar system. You can see that clear as day right here. It is then expanding and being dropped right over Southern California. And then take a look at what happens to Area 51. This is totally insane. This is not normal, and this is not birds or bugs. I can promise you that. There is something very odd going on with the military or something that's taking place in Area 51 and then being dropped in the sky, which is then carried over by the jet stream or some sort of wind pattern into Southern California. I talked about this yesterday when we predicted these wildfires based on a northwest anomaly that we saw, again from the NexRad radar system, which then led to insane wildfires in Ventura County. Now we are seeing more and more of this being dumped over Area 51 and then flows into Southern California. What is going on here? And then look at how the NexRad towers go absolutely berserk. There is no chance that this isn't related, my friends. This is now 2 days in a row we have captured this happening over Area 51 and flowing down into Southern California, exactly where these wildfires are. And I know a lot of people will give us a hard time for talking about this, but how can you not? This is not a coincidence whatsoever, and I'm going to continue digging into this to see exactly how long they continue this for. If you look close enough, you can find stuff like this every day on these satellite charts.
So I'm just saying, there's something to everything. So I'm looking into it. There was also footage of people in full firefighter suits that were setting fires. There was many things that were conspired about these fires, but the craziest thing is that the amount of area, that 19,000 miles or acres, what was said is it could possibly be a large enough area to put up, I think it's one of the first, if not the first, 15-minute city in the United States. So there are many, 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 many ideas of what has happened. But the one thing you can't take away from anybody is that none of us believe that this was a natural disaster. Like, this was planned. I don't think everything was planned, like everything that they do. I believe something was planned. And again, I don't know, but what's causing the winds to get all crazy, right? What's causing this? And I think that there was an idea of doing something, and then Mother Nature had a way of taking that and making it into something that was uncontrollable and that they weren't prepared for. So, look, at the end of the day, it's scary, and this is what California deals with, unfortunately, on a regular basis. never to this extreme, but it was said on Joe Rogan too. You know, just waiting for that perfect wind. And it happened. And it happened. But did it happen because it was mentioned that it could? Or did it happen because it happened? You know? I don't know. I think there's always something there. There's always room for manipulation. And there's always room for somebody else to gain from somebody else's losses. And I think that's where I like to look. Who gains from this? Because that might tell me more of why it happened. I'm looking into it, just like I'm looking into these UFOs. Check this out. This is from jet fighters leaked footage. NASA cuts live feed multiple UFOs.
All right, you can hear it a little bit as it went by, as the two ships went by. You can hear a little bit of a disturbance.
See him?
Watch this.
Shoom, shoom.
Okay, see how that happened? Boom, right away the first one comes in. It's all broken up digital signal. Here you go. There's the first one. Watch, here you go.
Gonna be coming out right here. And
boom, it's breaking up everything. Then the second one goes by.
Yeah, it fucked up the signal to the footage.
Come on there, buddy. This is very slow-mo. Look at that. Take a second. Look at that ship. Folks, that is a starship. That is a Napoleon ship. They love the circular thing.
Crazy, right? Like, these are not aliens, everybody. They're not aliens. This is Project Bluebeam. Red Beam, whatever the one before Red Beam was, whatever turned, whatever. Like, Bluebeam, I guess, was the aggressive one. I don't have the video for that right now. But, hey, I'm not saying that, like, this shit isn't happening. I'm just saying it's not what they're telling us. It's not what they're telling us. And I don't know what everybody else is thinking about this bird flu and everything else that's been happening and going on. But I will tell you right now that I'm calling BS on this too. We've had, one person die. I think they're grasping at straws and they are looking for the next thing. Now,
just to know you more clearly, to love you more dearly, and to follow you more nearly each day.
To love thee more dearly, to see thee more clearly, to follow thee more nearly, day by day. By day. Amen.
Amen.
So that was at Jimmy Carter's speech. And, being a scene from that movie just makes it that much funnier. And, yeah. That's where we're at today, everybody. It's 2025. It's the end of January, first month down. Here we go. It's just going to fly by from here on out. But I want to say thank you to everybody, as always. Thank you for all that you do, for all the support. Thank you so much. If you are new to the podcast, subscribe, all right? If you want your opportunity to be a guest or tell your story, talkinwithtopher at gmail.com. And then don't forget about that Linktree link. It's where you find everything TWT. It's in the description below the video, along with all the links that were on today's episode. And with that being said, everybody, I hope you have a great Thursday. Enjoy your weekend. And I will talk to you